Welcome to the Hospitality Breakroom, the podcast where we talk about the real conversation shaping the vacation rental industry. This season, we're diving into a topic that's becoming more important than ever: the relationship between vacation rentals and travel planners. For years, hotels have built strong partnerships with travel advisors and planners, while many vacation rental operators have struggled to understand how to work within that ecosystem. But that's changing. Today's travelers are looking for more personalized experiences, more space, and more curated stays. Travel planners are increasingly helping clients discover professionally managed vacation rentals as part of that experience. Throughout this season, we'll talk with travel planners, industry leaders, and hospitality professionals to better understand how these partnerships work, where the opportunities are, and what our industry can do to build stronger relationships with the advisor community. Whether you're a property manager, host, hospitality brand, or travel advisor, this season is designed to help bridge the gap between vacation rentals and the world of travel planning. Thanks for joining us in the break room. Let's get into today's episode. Hi, and welcome back to the Hospitality Breakroom. I am here today with Anthony Barrera. He has a varied and very interesting 12-year history in the vacation rental industry in some different areas. And he's done a lot of work that involves working with the travel advisors. And so I felt like he is the perfect person to have on and talk about this topic that we're doing a whole season about. Yes. So, Anthony, do you want to talk a little bit about your background, just like kind of your history in the industry really briefly?
Yes, of course. Hello, everybody. Yes. So 12 years in the industry. I kind of came from not the same industry of, like, let's say, vacation rentals. I have a financial kind of product
Oh,
background.
yeah, I forgot.
Yeah. So I was like in insurance and kind of did all the private lines and all this other stuff. And then I got into the kind of travel industry through working with a tour operator. This was 12 years. It was Viking, and it was a cruise company. And that's kind of my
I
first.
know Viking Cruise. That's so cool. I don't know
Yeah,
if I knew that.
yeah,
Okay.
it was really great experience. I was there for a few years, and then this recruiter actually hit me up, and they're like, "Hey, this company who's based in London is expanding to the US. They just opened the New York offices and the LA offices, and they don't have any salespeople or any kind of presence. Everything's going through the London office, and they're really trying to build out a team." So I was like, all right, well, let me see who this company is. This is right when Airbnb was kicking off and kind of, everything. This was 2014. So they've been around, but the short-term rental industry was kind of growing. So I told myself, I said, you know what? I'm going to give it a year. Let me see if this is anything worth kind of exploring.
Yeah.
And so I just kind of took the jump. I said, let me leave the industry that I know and go to this short-term rental company called Onefinestay. And that one
Crazy.
year turned into 10 years, which was
Oh my gosh. I
yeah,
didn't realize that.
it went
Okay.
from startup to kind of the founder, Evan Frank, hiring me with his wife, Diana Moss. And then kind of what happened was I started as an advisor myself, just kind of handling requests and kind of selling the product. And then they're like, hey, you need to grow the team in the US, which was great because then I kind of was able to bring on more salespeople,
Yeah.
train them on the product. And then fast forward, COVID happened 6 years later.
Uh-huh.
And they were like, hey, Anthony, we're consolidating more. So now you're going to run the European based team in Europe and all of our remote agents that are kind of, working from home. So it was a really great learning experience going through that. But in that kind of growth for myself, One Fine Stay grew a lot. They grew from, OTAs, and all the inquiries were coming from HomeAway and not a lot of direct bookings, to really investing in not only direct clients, but that travel agent advisor channel, right? So it was like, okay, we have to get off the OTAs. How do we create a brand that where people are knowing what One Fine Stay is? How do we know to kind of guarantee serving? And they were successful at it, I would say. I would think
Yeah,
so.
totally. I
You
mean, I
know,
think they're super successful. So I just okay, I did not I you must have told me this at some point and didn't like register. I think that is such a crazy story, that involvement with One Fine Stay and how that all like you were there for the growth of that. That's really cool.
yeah, it really was great to see from, like, startup culture and series, A, B, C, D, E funding. And kind of even at one point, they hired, I think, the CMO that came from Ralph Lauren, right? And the logo you see today with that circle fest, she created that, right? He was like, "You have to speak to the affluent customer in a certain way, and it has to go everywhere from your logo to your website to the product, even to the way that you communicate to your clients." And so that to me, I think is a really big sticking point on what we're gonna talk about today is those travel advisors are really used to talking to luxury brands and being handled and communicated and presented in a certain way. And I think the vacation rental is industry is doing a great job, but there's still a lot of room for improvements and kind of seeing where we can kind of elevate.
Yeah, especially in how we deal with the travel advisors, right? Like, it's a huge gap. Okay, I totally agree. Okay, so looking back, what experiences do you think that like what are the ones that you think have like most shaped your perspective based on this history? And actually, wait, I only let you get to one fine stay. Do you want to finish this story before you tell me this? Answer this
Yeah,
question?
sure. So
Okay.
after
Sorry. I'm
this
always doing that. Okay.
my 10 years, I said, okay, what's next for me? I started working with LPMS, which was a B2B platform. I did that for about a year, really helping them fine tune their approach with creating a marketplace for travel advisors, real estate agents, people essentially booking on behalf of another person, how to kind of bring a resource for them to finding great properties. So I
Yeah,
did
it's
that
a
for
great
about
idea.
and then over the past year and a little bit over a year and a half was doing acquisitions for nocturne luxury villas. So them knowing that I've been in the industry for so long, I joined the team to help kind of have them grow within their portfolio of brands through
Yeah,
acquiring others. And then again, I think we can tie that back to kind of how the travel advisor journey can be implemented in brands that maybe have it, but I think I'm uniquely positioned at sometimes being kind of on the B2B side, being on the B2C side, being on the acquisition side, being all those things. So I was able to get a pretty unique lens between kind of all those.
totally, because Nocturne, obviously, because we had Julie on one of the episodes, like, just the last one, I think, and, Julie Bird, who worked with Cabo Villas for, like, 20 years, and now Cabo Villas is part of the Nocturne collection, and so Nocturne, like, Julie's been able to impart some of her knowledge, and then you with yours and all these other companies have kind of been able to share. I think that's really an interesting insight, and we're gonna have Scott Wiseman on the show as well, because I do think Nocturne is a really good example of a collection of companies that have been brought together that many of which do a good job with travel advisors because they're all luxury companies. And, that's very unique because I think overall in our industry, we're not doing a great job. And a lot of the good examples, I think, are part of what Nocturne is doing. So to me, that's really cool visibility to have worked with One Fine Stay, worked on LPMS, which obviously the Mayman Group's really focused on working with travel advisors and building that LPMS tool. And then your experience with Nocturne. Like, that's why I'm so excited that you wanted to come chat about this because it really is like more of a 360-degree view because essentially you were booking travel when you first started with One Fine Stay. So it's like really similar to a travel advisor,
Yeah.
experience. And
And,
obviously
and
it's
we
a
and
little
we didn't
different.
have much of a system, right? It was very
Yeah.
like what was it called? You
Organic, like you just made it up.
hammered, how do we enhance this? Okay, we got this feedback. What do we do? Like, we didn't have account managers before. It was just travel coming in. But like, we realized as time went on that this is a very relationship oriented uh, channel. It's not something that it's like, oh, you're an advisor. Sure. Here, let me just shoot you some options. No, this, you have to play the long game with these people. You have to make sure that you're front and center of their mind when they have a client who says, I think I want to go skiing somewhere in the mountains, right? They don't say I want to go to Park City, maybe, or they don't say I want to stay in a villa or a private residence. They say, my family wants to take a ski trip. How do you, as a brand, get in front of those advisors before the client comes to them so that they say, I'm going to reach out to Abode because I know Abode, I know Rachel, or I know Anthony, or I know somebody at the company. I met them at this function, or I did something. They hosted a family trip, or I went to this kind of webinar that they were hosting, and I now am familiar with the product, and they've given me some type of sense of trust that I can say, let me check this out. Let me see if I have something I can offer my clients. So like that to me is where I think One Fine Stay did a really good job is they went from reactive to proactive. They were like, we're going after them. We see and then we did the analytics, higher booking values, higher quality of client, longer stays. One travel advisor brings you 20 different clients. Yeah. It's like all these things were like, no, you got to treat that as a relationship. And I think the same thing, we could probably get into it more is, on the same time that comes with a lot of responsibility, right? There's a lot of responsibility for the brand to make sure they deliver for that travel advisor
Right,
because
to not ruin because, like, their relationship, hard won, is on the line, just like with a real estate agent.
it's not even their relationship, it's their bread and butter. Travel advisors
Right,
are not paid salaries, they're paid commission.
right. Yeah, yeah.
So they want that client to continue to book with them. That client who spends $300,000 a year on travel, they don't want a variable in the product that they're giving their client. So I think vacation rentals are doing a great job, especially the ones that are professionalizing, structuring themselves, really elevating the service level, the experience level, the quality of the units or the homes that they offer. If you're doing that, you can tie that piece with travel advisors in a way that starts feeding your bookings. And right, we all want to diversify. We want OTAs, we want directs, we want travel advisors. You can't be too heavy in one section. And so there's a lot of potential there. And as you know, Rachel, like more travel advisors are coming online, the tech is there, more younger people are becoming more wealthy. Their friends are going to book for them on their behalf because their friend's a travel agent.
Yeah, the growth in, how many people are booking through travel planners or travel advisors, it's massive, right? I did a whole episode just, like, reading stats, and it's crazy. Like, everything's over 50% growth, like, all the
And
different
if you think
segmentation.
about it, anybody that can afford to spend, let's say, $50,000 on a trip, do
Yes.
you think they're booking that themselves? No.
Right. I mean, well, I do think they maybe used to. Like, I
Used to.
think that with Google had like a moment where they were really into travel. I mean, it's still there sort of, but like, Airbnb came and grew and VRBO. And I think a lot of people, I mean, I saw this happening. They were booking for themselves online because there were these new tools that were cool and fun, right? But it's like we're bored of that now. Like, nobody is I shouldn't say nobody, but I think most people are not like excited to go mess around on Airbnb or VRBO the way we used to be because it's now a tool we use, but it's not so interesting, right? Like we're used to it. And so I know, like for me, there was a bunch of travel tools I used to look at. And number one, I'm busier now. And I spend a decent amount when I travel because I have a big family. But like I use a travel advisor and I'm in the industry. But why do I do that? It's exactly what you said. Like I don't, it's for time. And I think a lot of people, even the ones that maybe used to go and mess around online because it was new and that's fast, right? Like it's not that interesting. So why are you going to do that now? You're not. You're bored with it. You're going to call someone who can do it for you and not make it very much more expensive anyway, right? And so you can, if your budget's 100 grand, you can still dump almost all that right into your trips, and your planner can do it without you having to go, do searches.
Exactly. I mean, we did analytics before seeing, what was the average booking value with someone who booked online where they didn't consult anybody? And then what's the average booking value of someone who inquired and didn't book online, which means, let's say, the salesperson offered options and kind of consulted with them. And then also what it looked like with a travel advisor kind of going through that same process. And the travel advisor value was
Yes, same. You know what? I haven't run that report, and I just took a note while you were talking because I'm going to. But we were talking about it with my team just like yesterday, just like anecdotally, and it's like those reservations we get that are like 80,000, 100,000, 150, 200,000. I know that a lot of them come through the travel advisors, not all of them, but definitely a portion. And I need to look at how many because I could tell you anecdotally, I think it's a lot. So yeah, there's no denying this. Like, and I think on the luxury side of things, we have more visibility to just how fast this is growing. And I do think it's growing across all markets. I do think that there are travel planners that specialize. I don't think I know this. Travel planners, they're specialized in all different stuff. But like some of them specialize in value and some of them I mean, theoretically, they all specialize in value. Some of them specialize in maybe a more like budget conscious, still expensive probably, but someone who has more of a budget, let's say, that they're working within. And then I think a lot of the travel advisors, of course, they're focusing on more of the luxury piece and then vacation rentals because we don't have standards or tiers established, like what is luxury. But, I just mean like a price point of at least $1,000 a night, on up. And so I think there's no denying, right? Like this is growing, and that's why we're doing this whole series of episodes. And I think that, we've already established this, but just to make sure no one's questioning like why we're talking about it here, it's because in the vacation rental industry, and we've hammered on this, but I'm going to say it again, we don't have the boundaries. We don't have the contracted relationships, right? Like with travel planners, we don't have agreed upon cancellation policies and commission structure. It's all like really loosey goosey, and it's all up for grabs every time. And so that's, part of the problem. And that has a lot to do with the structure of the tech that's involved and how we're not really able to list on, what is it, the GDS and the whatever, the different channels that travel advisors use. Like we don't really have a good way to list on there. So they don't have a way to set up those parameters for us to work within. But that doesn't mean that this is impossible. And that doesn't mean that we just like give up and say, screw it, I guess we won't get that business.
Have you read about like the resurgence of like the boutique hotel, right? Like where now instead of it being
There's like a deflagging happening, right? I mean, there's like there's a group of hotels even recently that just unbranded and became like their own independent properties again, right?
correct. And I think
Yeah,
in vacation rentals kind of fall within that niche a bit where
absolutely.
you can be a boutique brand in your destination, even though you're not a centralized hotel with, 150 keys, you have 150 homes, right? And you can create a boutique brand around that and compete with the boutique hotel product within your same market, right? What that boutique hotel is doing is probably doing a lot of that proactiveness that you're not doing,
That's right. Yes.
and they're doing the whole. I mean, you can even do influencers, but not even just that, but like the fam trips, the webinars, education, all of these things I think are what I have seen uh talking to different vacation rental brands, learning even in the mergers and acquisitions kind of point of view, I was able to look at, their books and see which channels were the most lucrative. And sometimes, wow, you're a really luxury brand, but your travel advisor channel is like almost nothing. Like, why?
That's right. Yeah. And that's the bulk of the companies in our industry, right? In vacation rentals, people aren't doing it. And then I'm sure that you saw the ones that were,
Yeah.
it's
And,
massive.
on the other side, I've heard, I went to a meeting today, and, one of the feedbacks was, travel advisors can be a headache. They ask so many questions. They're always very, forceful with making sure that their client's okay. And I'm like, yeah, but they're also bringing you a quality client who's you want to make sure everything goes well. And I bet you if you were prepared to know how to work with this channel better as before they came to you, that you would be able to navigate that relationship a lot better. If your sales team says, I hate travel agents, it's probably because you don't have the systems in place to
That's
work.
right. And it's like the travel planners, the travel advisors, they may be coming in hot a little bit, right? Because like they are getting ready to deal with the situation that they're trying to work within with no parameters, right? Because on the one hand, most of their experiences are dealing with flights, they're dealing with tour operators, they're dealing with hotels, all of these parameters that are contracted around it, cancellation policy, commission structure, whatever, all that stuff is like built around it, right? So they come in, they have all their rules in place and they can operate in a nice, organized environment, right? Where they know where they stand. They come into the vacation rental concepts. Number one, if most companies are not, ready, maybe most companies, and this is me included, don't have an unbranded website, right? Like they don't have like, like a easy way to like pull a PDF, an unbranded, unpriced PDF to give. So there's like no tools that are going to be even at all similar that what they're used to with hotel experience. So they come in and they're like, how the travel advisor is coming in worried about how they're going to get the information that they need and how they are about to like kind of get in a fight, right? Because maybe their client is like, I want to rent a house, and the travel advisor's like, "Ugh, I'm gonna have to go search out
Yeah,
this
yeah.
stuff. I don't know
Who do
what
I
I'm gonna find."
what is it? Let me go to this wholesale company. Like, I don't talk bad about, but these companies that list your properties that you're paying them 20% to list on those, and then they kind of go to those instead of going to the brand directly, which also creates another issue because and everything becomes
Exactly.
The
There's like
client,
three parties.
the platform talks to the property manager, you talk to the owner. And that's actually been one of the biggest complaints that I heard from travel advisors is, I want to know who's on the ground. I don't talk to the person that's working in an office in New York that has the relationship with the property management company in Turks and Caicos. I want to talk to the people on the ground in Turks and Caicos.
Yes, but they don't know how to get to us. And also, if they talk right to Turks and Caicos, they oftentimes probably are, ending up like with, is there a way you can send me information about the property that's unbranded? No. So then they're like, oh shit, now I got to like copy and paste into an email. It's like a whole, right? So to me, it's like, I feel that person you talked to today, I totally feel their pain and I live it. But I also have begun to only more recently understand the pain of the travel advisor. And most of that's because I have a good friend who is with Fora. She's top 100. And she's told me, because she's like, I want to book your stuff, but like, here's why it's so hard. And so I think that's why I'm doing all these episodes with people like you, is because like, okay, I really want everyone to get the full picture. Not only do I want my reservation salespeople to get the full picture, but I do want other people in our industry, like the person you talked to today. It's like when these travel advisors show up and they're already kind of angry and frustrated and they seem like they're being pushy, like there's a reason. And like I've been talking about that book that I wrote a lot, and how it's like we're always talking about the reason behind, or like the issue behind the issue, the thing behind the thing, right? Like when our guests are kind of pissy, and it's like, don't get mad back. Don't ask, like, let's think about what led them to feel like this and how can we help them through that. And that's how I feel about the travel advisor relationship. We're all coming at it like kind of hot. And it's like, well, that's because we have a lot of baggage. So let's like try to work around what caused the baggage to get to a better place of working together.
What I told my sales team is we were trying to make sure that, we were making sure that this channel was, nurtured, and we had our account managers hounding us. Oh my God, this high producing agent's upset. So what we did was we said, listen, you get a travel advisor inquiry. One, we set up our CRM to know all the past bookings that they booked with us. So we know, is this a travel advisor that is engaged with us, or is it a new advisor? If it's a new advisor, I say you need to call that advisor. Don't just respond with options. Get them on the phone. Ask them, have you booked a private residence before? Some of them will still say no to this day. No, I haven't. My client asked for a house and I saw you guys online. It's an opportunity for the brand to educate this travel advisor on your product, right? And start creating that relationship with them. And then it's, how do you send options to them? Do you have to and their number one question when you send options is what? Is this commissionable? How much is my commission? Right?
Right. So we need
So
to have that
you have to
set,
have
right?
that set up where you're doing that. Booking confirms. Can I get a travel agent copy with my commission outline? And then can I get the guest facing copy that I can send to my client? Yes. Okay. When are you communicating with my client before the trip? Why has no one reached out to my client 2 weeks before? She's about to do all this stuff and I haven't heard from you guys. Or, hey, I heard something's going on. My client called me. Why didn't you call me? They told me something's happening in the villa, or, like all those things you can be prepared for, but nobody is really preparing themselves for it. And then they think all agents are a headache. It's like, no, you need to have the infrastructure in place,
Yes,
essentially.
totally. I totally agree. I think, like all of these are really good points, which I feel like I'm taking notes as you're talking. I'm like thinking of things you're saying. I'm like, I have to make sure we do that. And so I hope other people listening have this. No, for real. Other people, I hope that, we have millions and millions of listeners. And no, I don't know. Maybe there's just like my mom and that's it. No, but, but like anyone listening who is in travel, as a travel advisor, or really honestly, right now, I think I'm speaking more to like the vacation rental people. It's like these things that Anthony's talking about, they sound kind of small, like in conversation, to think about, like having your CRM be able to target specifically travel advisors. And like, it's going to have a section built out, which I was talking to Salesforce today, actually. But you would need like a section built out, just like you would have for, say, real estate agents when it comes to the tracking on, the work you do to build your portfolio and to add new homeowners. You would do some work with real estate agents, right? I see it very similar the way that I would want my CRM to account for travel advisors, right? Because we're always talking about CRM for guests and all the different people involved in a different, group that's booking and all that. But it's like, you also need the ability to track and have that history, like Anthony mentioned, on your travel advisor so that you know who they booked in the past, how that all went, what the details are. You can track amount of revenue and tie it to travel advisors. This is so
And I don't think we even got into like the consortia, right? So a lot of these travel advisors are part of what's called a consortia. It can be virtuoso, it could be signature, it can be ensemble. And these are also things that could be very valuable to the brands because if you generate enough revenue from agents who are virtuoso, then you can go to virtuoso and say, listen, your agents are already booking me. I have this much revenue. I have this many different agencies coming to me. They're all pretty happy with my product. Can I be a Virtuoso preferred supplier? And they say Virtuoso goes, okay, let me talk to these agents. Let me get feedback from them. Give me your numbers so we can see the revenues that you're currently generating. And then they open the door where you then become a resource to all their agents. And now if you're Virtuoso preferred or a preferred supplier, these people are now not just going based off of searching. They're like, who does Virtuoso recommend for accommodations in Park City? Oh, they see Abode. Okay, let me reach out to you. There's already kind of this vetting, pre-vetting, the kind of stamp of approval. So doing that is also very good for luxury brands because then they can say, I'm a part of Virtuoso, I'm a part of Signature, I'm a part of this. And then that is going to start feeding your
totally,
channel as well.
totally. Like, and here's the thing. It's not as easy. Like Anthony makes it sound really easy. And I would say I have tried some of this over the years and I find it hard. Now, this kind of makes me want to go into like the thing we were going to talk about a few steps down the road, Anthony, but I feel like this could be like a great segue
Yeah,
into, do you mind if I kind of just
sure.
start to segue? Okay. Cause like we had some good things I wanted to talk about with Anthony about like his experience in the past and like what surprised him. But I feel like we did cover a little of this. Okay. And we have some other things we can talk about. But one of the things I wanted to make sure we talked about with Anthony today is that so Anthony is starting a company and it's I don't want to say this wrong. So I'm going to describe how I see it, Anthony, and I want you to like correct it if I mess it up. Okay. So his company is called Strata. Am I saying that right? Okay. And it's a way for vacation rental companies to work with someone who can represent them and market them and explain them properly to the right people in the travel advisor industry, whether that's a travel advisor company, whether that's Virtuoso, whether that's Fora, or whether that's, making sure that you're represented by like attendance at like, I don't know, ASTA events or different symposiums that are happening with travel advisors and stuff. And so I think a lot of us, most companies in the vacation rental industry have no representation that way. Most of us, I think, probably do what we do, like what Abode does. I would say we're probably like at a mid lower level of how we handle this. And I always feel like we do a great job. But then I talk to people like Julie Bird with like Cabo Villas slash Nocturne. And it's like they're doing so many cool things. And I feel like, oh God, I'm doing nothing. But there's this whole gradient, right? Between like you're not doing anything, you're just like kind of like travel advisors are annoying and you're not doing anything. And then there's a whole gradient between that and being like really well represented, attending, different travel advisor events, making sure you're reaching out to Virtuoso and Signature, building slowly those relationships. Like there's a whole bunch in between. And so Anthony's company that he's just started is, creating a resource to help work with vacation rental companies to take them from, oh, travel advisors are annoying and I don't know how to deal with it, to being well represented. And I think there's a very small amount of vacation rental companies that are able to staff enough people that are specializing and focused on that representation internally. I think that's hard to achieve. It's not impossible. Some really great companies do a really good job with it, but I think it's hard to do it on your own. And so this idea of the company Strata that Anthony has created, it's so cool to me. Like when he was telling me about it just the other day, I was freaking out because it's like, oh my gosh, this is exactly what we need. So I'm super excited. Do you want to talk a little more like from your knowledge? Because I feel like I'm just making a very generalized statement.
Well, no, you almost hit the nail on the head 99% of it, so it's
Oh,
great. But
thank you. Okay.
I would say that the reason why I launched this was because I saw so much potential in brands being able to, again, grow this out. So part of the service is, not just getting you in front of the brands, but preparing you for the brands, right? Preparing you for the travel advisor community. So it's kind of like a two-step process. I could work with brands that have zero baseline of never working with travel agents, but have the product and have kind of the ability to do so. And they're like, listen, I know nothing about this. I really want to kind of dip my toes in this, and I can help you kind of launch it, right? Okay, let's launch this internally before we even go and reach out to any advisors or do that proactiveness. There's other ones like you, Rachel, where you're saying, listen, I have kind of a baseline. I'm here, but I think there's so much room for improvement within my current systems. For me, it's a shorter amount of time, but there's still, I think, ways that I can help consult with you, the sales team, look at your tech stack, look at your financial kind of flow to say, okay, let's improve this, let's do this, let's create this, let's do all those other things. And then there's ones that can be fully already good. Hey, I have a great travel advisor system already. I know I got the functions down, but I don't have any representation. I don't have somebody out there that's going out talking to travel agents on my behalf. I'm not based in the US. I'm talking to a lot of international brands, right? People that are brands in Mexico, brands in the Caribbean. They can't afford a full-time person in the US to do that. So I say, listen, Strata can do two things. I can make sure that you're prepared. I can consult with you on that. And once you're ready to go, I could be the person in the room to really talk about your brand. I can talk about what you offer, your destination, kind of the USPs, your selling points, be proactive, do the webinars, host the FAMs, really kind of work with your marketing team on how you're communicating with the travel advisor community. Go to the events like LE Miami and Virtuoso and ILTM. And really, once you're there, you're in the room then. And then you're getting those contacts, and I'm feeding you those contacts. Every travel advisor that I connect with, I'm giving you their information, their email, their contact agency. Then your job is to market to them, talk about your products, and that's kind of like the ecosystem in doing that. And I'm not trying to represent 100 brands. I'm really trying to keep it bespoke and small, where I'm able to give a lot of energy to each individual brand. And when I'm in front of an advisor, I can put time to talk about each one of those. So I think it's going to be a really good opportunity, not just for me to put all of my knowledge that I've had for these many years in hospitality and vacation rentals and travel advisors, but also seeing that, vacation rental industry is really accelerating in the professionalism part of it,
Yes, it
tech.
is. It's
And
maturing.
so we need to also be better at this side of the business.
1000%. Like we are totally in agreement on this. And this is why I want to talk about it so much, because I just feel like there's some of us, like Julie, who I talked to, like Tilly on my team, like you, like Scott, like there is a bunch of people. Now, a lot of them are on the luxury side of things, but there are a bunch of people that have either been doing this for a long time, they get the concept, or they're very interested in doing more of it. And I think all of us like share this general feeling of like, wow, this sort of difficult, but we can do it. We're not above putting the work in and figuring it out, even though it's kind of clunky at the moment. And so my hope by talking about this more is that number one, like there's more solutions. Like you have literally I always say that I manifest things, and I swear to God, I manifest. I mean, I'm doing nothing. I'm talking. But it's like, you know what? Things don't happen unless people like really work to make them happen. And part of that work is sometimes just being out there talking to people in your industry and discussing the things that need to happen. Like they're definitely not going to come to fruition by us just wishing silently at night when we like get in bed, right? Like right before we go to sleep, we like pray silently. This isn't going to do it. Okay. But you know what? Talking about it with like smart, capable people, it's either going to be us or and someone around us this is going to happen. And then here you are like rising out of like being like, oh, and solving all these issues I need. And so, yeah, I'm super excited about, I mean, Anthony knows this. Like he was telling me about this idea and I was like, oh yes. Like, did I think that into existence? Because I have been praying and talking about like needing a way forward. And I feel like what you're building is a
Yeah.
really great way
And
forward
and
for
the
some of us.
ROI on it is great, right?
Yeah,
Because like you think
totally.
about it, what I'm offering, I'm not, you're paying a fraction of what you would pay a full-time person to do it. And also you're still getting all of that proactive outreach and relationship building. And then again, 10 to 15 engaged advisors that are coming to you and at least inquiring on you. Those are and they're doing multiple inquiries with you. Those can turn bookings that have, if you look at it, the average booking value of a travel advisor is, $18,000, right? And so you're thinking, I get 10 more, 15 more bookings a year. That's a lot of revenue coming towards.
Totally. Like, so I need to run this, and I was just taking it out as you were talking, because I'm like thinking in my head, so why have I not run the numbers on like annual, how much we're booking through travel advisors, and then compare that to what we're spending on commission?
Yeah.
Because it's like sometimes the commission is something that we're adding onto the top. So I wouldn't count that as us spending anything. But sometimes it is like maybe a rate parity situation or a partial. And so it's like I want to run the numbers on commission that I've spent as compared to what revenue we've gotten. And then to me, like give me 6 months to a year working with you, working with Strata. And it's like I think we'll be able to have a great story of numbers too, because it's like I know anecdotally that we bring in reservations that are like 80,000, 100,000, $150,000 reservations. And I know that that's somewhat unique, but I know we bring those in through the travel advisors. And so it's like, I want to look at the commission comparison, but then I could easily, if I look at those numbers and I just think of, even if we just kept our travel advisor bookings similar to what they are now, and I look at what we would spend with Strata, I'm sure I can figure out. And I know in my head, it's obvious, right? Like as soon as Anthony was telling me about what he was doing, it's like, I literally, like I knew I was going to have to, find out how much this costs, but I also figured it's going to make sense because these booking values are very high. And so you only need a few of them. It's kind of like being a real estate agent. And like, if you sell expensive houses, it's kind of like, it's all worthwhile. You just need a few sales. And I think it's the same. And so, but I want to work on like showing those numbers.
And I also like this part of the process on my side, which I think is also something unique, is like, how do I work with brands like you to create, like, let's say, a shareable experience within your properties that they can share with their client and say, the perfect 3 nights in Park City, right? And this during peak season that comes with the car and driver, comes with the ski lift
Sample itineraries, right?
Sample things, right? But how do we create that to be a commissionable product for travel advisors to present to their clients as a selling point, not just house, but like, let's do that. Let's create that. Let's market.
Okay, Anthony, we're doing this. So like this is you and I are literally psychic together. It's weird, you guys. And if you are listening and you are not into like the woo psychic ideas, like plug your ears really quick. But like when I feel like Anthony and I just can be so in sync sometimes on this stuff because yes, so crazy enough. I don't even think you knew this. But I've been working on like all-inclusive offerings because we have an abode anthology collection, which is like our elite collection of like the really amazing houses that have guest houses or very large homes that are amazingly situated, like 10, 15, 20, $50 million properties, right? And those are the anthology collection. And so for that special collection of properties, I've been working for years, but I'm very close now to getting a way to list on our website, not only to separate those out, but also to offer them with all-inclusive pricing with chef service included. So we're super close to having that function on our website. And to me, that's that, right? I want this for all of my clientele, but of course for travel advisors, that I'd be able to send them to that specific area of the site to say, look, you can sell this all-inclusive. You can sell this with private chef and add on whatever you want as a full, like all-inclusive package to your
I'll put something on top of that. Before that, let's host a dinner at one of the houses for the travel advisor.
1,000,000%, right?
And let's talk about, this is the house, this is the kind of service level. It's all about that because I'm telling you, that's what travel advisors will value to do that.
Well, and I think a lot of companies like me would do that, but oftentimes your stumbling block is not necessarily finding time to host that dinner and being able to bring in the chef, right? It's just the relationship with the right person at the travel advisor company or the consortium or, Virtuoso or whichever way we're going with it, to be able to have the contact of like who to talk to about getting the right people. And then, because then if we're gonna financially support, bringing them into town, hosting them potentially with lodging and setting up some dinners or experiences, it's like, I've done this. It is 1,000% worthwhile on the spend. The issue is sometimes really just the relationship with the right contacts.
Yeah. And that's part of the service that I'm talking about is
amazing, right? It's perfect.
Facilitate that. And also I get it with the consulting thing is, do you then, as you bring on new homes, put in a clause saying you allow me 3 free nights a year to host something. You know what I mean?
Which
Like
we do this.
exactly,
So
but a lot of
I
people
have a
don't, right?
clause, yeah, in my contract with my homeowners, which they can agree or not agree to when they sign their contract. But it's saying, do you want to allow some marketing nights? I think it's like up to 5 marketing nights a year or something. Maybe it's 3. And, we rarely use those because we don't have, it's like we just don't have access to be able to use them in this way. But we put that in the contract for this reason. So it's literally like, I did not want to make this whole episode like this giant commercial for Anthony's new company, but it is anyway. And it's like this concept with Strata is literally that way to get you the contacts so that you could host a FAM essentially for your own company, right? Or if Anthony is setting up a couple of different, people involved with the travel advisor industry, and he's going to be bringing them to a certain area or region. Like he could potentially make it like really efficient, so they would see this company, they could see that company, and it's like that's it. That for me, I've seen this when I've been able to do this either on my own or through other relationships, and I had the kind of like shared with us about doing this kind of stuff. We have absolutely seen bookings from this and like big fat, juicy bookings and multiple big fat, juicy bookings from being part of something like that. So it's like, I have no doubt that this works for me sometimes. And I think for a lot of people in my position with a vacation rental company, you're oftentimes just trying to keep your head above water. You have so many priorities you have to address that it's like sometimes things slip through the cracks. And I think it's pretty common that the travel advisor stuff slips through the cracks. And I think that's happening for too long now. And with the influx in how many people are booking with travel advisors, we can no longer let that priority fall through the cracks. Like now or never, we got to get on top of this and we need help. And so it's like, oh my gosh, there's actually someone who can help us. That's new. That hasn't been the case before.
And
So
focuses specifically on this industry. I'm not
yeah,
spreading to hotels. It's like I'm
right.
concentrated on vacation rentals, like
Absolutely.
on
Yeah.
this specifically, which I think
It's like
that
so crazy exciting. Okay. I want to go look at some of the stuff that I skipped for us to talk about. Unless, do you want to cover more about the concept of the company? Do you think we got all of that?
yeah, I think we got that's fine.
Okay. Well, how about this was a question I think is really good is what do the very best travel advisors have in common? Like if a vacation rental company, they're out there, they're gonna maybe be kind of selective on who they work with because they don't have a lot of bandwidth until they're working with you. And so before that, like how would you like advise someone if they're just gonna start picking some interactions, like how are they picking who they're gonna interact with?
I mean, listen, I think, just to get back to the question of, what do the best travel advisors have in common? I would say that a really good travel advisor is aware that things can go wrong and works with the brand to have the best outcomes. And what that
That's called
means,
experience, right?
it's an experienced travel advisor that
Yeah.
says, oh, that if and when the S hits the fan,
Yes.
that they work with you. They're not somebody that says, "Oh my god, I can't believe this happens." It's like, "No, let's come to a solution together." So usually working with travel advisors, best ones get that, and the best ones are like, "Listen, our job is to service the client, so let's work together as you as the product, me as their advisor. Let's talk internally and go to this client with a solution."
Because it's only someone that doesn't have a lot of experience in travel that would think it's possible that you would have no friction because that's
Right.
just not possible, right? Especially
Yeah.
if air travel is involved. But even regardless, and it's like if your experience, what you know, is something that's in my book that I've been trying to teach everyone, which is the issue, the friction is literally your door. This is the door you could walk through to get a really good review and to have these people have this deep connection and sense of belonging with you and your brand and your experience, right? It's like the problem is what lets you in. If they don't have any issue, number one, they are probably passed out because that's not real. But number two, now's your chance to go talk to them. If they never come to you with anything, you don't have a great way to get in there. But once they kind of need you for something, well, now you're building a relationship, right? Okay. So I agree. Okay, so one of the things that that someone's like a really good travel advisor is if they are talking to you about like, not only how are we going to set this client up with their experience, but also giving you ways to communicate with them and with the client when there are issues, because we all can admit that they will happen. And I totally agree with that. That's a really good point.
Yeah, and I think also it's good for advisors. Good travel advisors really want to learn, so they will join the webinars. They will engage and provide feedback. They will want to get the information from you so that they can better service their clients. So, like advisors that are just kind of like off to the side doing whatever they want to do and really not trying to learn your product, I would say are kind of shooting themselves in the foot a little bit, just because your client's going to want a product like this and you're going to want to know reputable brands. And so, like, if you're a good advisor, your job is to educate yourself.
You're emotionally mature, you've been to therapy, you understand that problems can happen, and you are not so crazy as to think that, like, it would never happen to you or that it would never be your fault. Like, right?
Exactly. And in the end, if that works, then they're a promoter for your brand. You know what I mean? They're your promoter. And then a good travel advisor is a promoter. And then say, oh my God, I loved Abode. They did my client so well. And this they had this amazing stay. They talk to the other agents. You know, all travel agents, they love to booze and schmooze with each other. You know what I
Yes, of
mean?
course, that's why they're in it.
They love to travel. Everyone hosts them. They love
Yeah,
to socialize and they talk among themselves.
of
So,
course.
you know, you want to make sure that you get promoters
And we
in
shouldn't be faulting them for that, right? We should accept that. Like, that makes perfect sense. So let's work within a system that takes that into account, right? Okay, so what do you think that vacation rental professionals often misunderstand about advisors? Okay, the list here is vast. So let's like pick your top.
I
Wait, I'm
mean,
gonna repeat it one more time just so that I make sure they okay. So we're asking, what do vacation rental professionals, so what are the vacation rental companies like me, like, everybody else probably who's listening to this, what do they often misunderstand about travel advisors?
I'll keep the list short. I just will say that they misunderstand that the juice is worth the squeeze, I would say.
I
You know what I
totally
mean?
agree. And I've
Like
been there myself. Yeah.
it's like you have to understand that it's not an instant booking. It's not just cha-ching in my pocket. It's not, a person who pays online and shows up with a code at the door. This is
Which,
a
like, none of
completely
our clients, there's a very small amount of clients that are like that anyway. So why would we think that all of a sudden through a travel advisor, they would have, got a genie that brings in, I don't know, silent, fast, decisive, never changing their mind consumers? Like, not real.
Yeah, so, like,
Yeah,
to me, the biggest misconception is that they're not worth it, and I'm like, "They are worth it. They're worth
they
it.
are worth it. I
It's
agree.
worth it. You gotta do it. You have to go through the motions. You gotta nurture it like an abusive relationship sometimes.
Yeah, it's a little bit of trauma response, but
Little
we
trauma
are if you're in
hardening.
hospitality, like, let's face it, and Anthony and I can talk, like, really honest, so, like, I don't know, I gotta slowly, like, let everyone get to know you the way I know you, but it's like, if you're in hospitality, if you have the hospitality gene, as I say, I think that the hospitality gene, if we looked at it really closely and we involved, like, a psychiatrist, it's actually, like, a little bit of codependence, right? Like, the hospitality gene means, like, that you are a little bit codependent, right? Like, if you're a really good caretaker that way, like, you put other people before yourself sometimes. I think that's just part of it, right? So let's just admit it and stop fighting it.
I At Onefinestay, one of the things I didn't enjoy the most was that all escalations went to me, right? So
Oh, that's
anything
fine. I've had
anything
years in that role
and
myself.
it was
Yes.
like, "Wait a minute, guys." Like,
Yes.
I can't run a sales team and handle escalations at the same time. I need those to be whatever,
This is
but
why we're kindred spirits, because we're both that person, but it, like, gets to a point where you get burned out and you can't
you
do
get
it
burned
anymore.
out. You're like,
Yeah.
I can't do it." But, part of it was really, I don't know, like there was a sense of great accomplishment to like
Yes.
turn a fire into something else
1000%.
and kind of get to the other side of it. And
That's the
so,
hospitality gene right there. You just
yeah,
explained it.
it was like, great, okay, this is off my plate. And it was the most hectic thing. And I always had a motto. And I said, no matter what happens to you in life, there's a beginning, middle, and end. Life is a beginning, middle, and end, and in between life, you have the little beginning, middles, and ends of everything. So I
Yeah,
said, "This, I'm in the middle of it today, but it'll be behind
that's
me
right.
soon, and I won't have to deal with it." And
I
that's how I
always tell my
approach
team, this is
stuff.
like a mantra we've had for years. It's like, look, we're not in long-term rentals, okay? Like, we're not, this is like a week. Usually it's a week or less, sometimes 2 or 3 weeks, right? But it's generally like a week or less. So you know what? We get someone that comes to visit that might be difficult, might be, really trying situation. Guess what? Just give it a couple sleeps, just a couple more days, and they're going to be gone. So you know what? It's almost like I always say like, you can do anything for like 2 minutes when you're
Well,
doing
there's
a
something else
workout.
to that, you get a travel advisor who has an amazing client who
Yes.
loves a product, who then guess what? Once they check out, they say, "My client wants to book again,"
Yes.
or, "Oh, they wanna come back, for the next time, and they want exactly as you did it last time." I mean, imagine that, right? You get
This
another
happens a lot.
it happens a lot, and so, like, that's the other side of it is when things go great and you have that relationship, it pays tenfold.
And that's why the juice is worth the squeeze.
The juice is worth the squeeze. Yes.
Yes, I agree with you totally. And I think it's true. Like I remember in the beginning when we had this business and we were just getting started and we were learning about commission to travel advisors and we were like, it's so much commission. But like honestly, these days, if you look at all of our OTAs and the other ways that we get bookings, we're paying a lot. And even when you have direct bookings, which we have, more than 60% direct bookings, but so what? Like that's not free. You know what we pay for SEO and marketing and I mean, it's a lot. It's millions of dollars, right? Like it's a lot of money. And so if you look at that spend and you start to really do some more complicated math about how you can compare what you're paying on commission to a travel advisor.
You gotta look at it from a lens as, like, what? Your margins are a little bit smaller because you pay commission. Your owners are a little bit happier because 'cause they're filling calendars. The owners are saying like, it's kind of like a homeowner retention tool as well, you know what I mean?
Amazingly true.
It as, "You listen, you can pitch this as, here's your distribution, here's your relationships on the travel advisors, here's the value of
Right.
that panel. I'm filling your calendar on shoulder seasons because we're getting these great bookings through these travel advisors. We're marketing the channel." Like, there's so many different value adds to it where, paying the commission, you know, I
It's
don't
worth it.
worth it. Or
Like
but like
if you are managing properties where like a big reservation is a $10,000 reservation, okay? Or if you're like me and a big reservation is like 100 grand. But like either way, on either end of that spectrum, when your homeowner sees that big reservation, and maybe they usually see $2,000 reservations most often, maybe around 2 to 5. And then you get that $10,000 reservation. They're going to get the notification from your property management software that you just got their $10,000 reservation. They are going to be very excited about that. Clearly, you are going to be very excited about that because you're getting your cut of that, right? That's helping you support your overhead, to pay for your team and your office and all your stuff, right? So, like, this is a benefit for everyone. And while, yes, you're paying commission on that big reservation, like you were saying, Anthony, like the benefit of that puppy just showing up on the books is really big for morale, for your sales team. I mean, for a whole bunch of reasons. And so it's like there is the commission, but when you weigh it against all the rest of this, like if you have a homeowner and you usually get like for me, I might have a homeowner where they're getting a lot of like 20 or $30,000 reservations. Okay. Those are, maybe the slower time. If there's some shorter, bookings, and that's not bad. No one's mad about that. We're grateful to see those stack up and create revenue. But similarly for me, when $100,000 reservation comes through, it's going to shift the mindset of your homeowner. They're going to feel so proud that they own a property that could have that bigger reservation than they're used to. That's really good for them. That like validates for them why they bought this property in the first
and
place.
imagine if
You're
it came through an advisor and their client was a celebrity or
exactly. And this happens.
it's like, you usually don't disclose the clients, but,
Right.
in some cases, the owner may have to know who the client is
Or
just for
even if you could just say, "Hey, this is a really cool person that's booking," and
Yeah,
I'm not allowed
exactly,
to,
yeah. Usually,
but it's like
like, "Oh, this is the director of a new film that's coming in town." You know what I mean? Like, you can say something like that, and they're like, "Oh, wow, that's amazing," that's great, and so a lot of owners love that. Like, they
you
love
really are spiraling upwards, right, in these situations with these really good reservations, and it's very common that the good reservations come through a good travel advisor. So it's like, if you're able to start getting involved with travel advisors and, you're able to use some of the advice that you're getting today and on other episodes where we're talking about, like, how do you get the good travel advisors? How do you get the good bookings? It's like, you're gonna create the revenue. So, of course, as a business owner, we're always looking for more profitability, so that's great. But you're also, like, starting a spiral up, and obviously Chili agrees with me. Chili, is that right?
Hurry, yes, stop chili. No
Chili
barking.
agrees. The cutest dog on the planet. Like, that dog looks fake. It's so cute.
He's real, he's moving.
But, like, that's a spiral upward. Like, that is increasing, like, the positive, effect of so many things within your company, and yes, the revenue, but, like, so many other things, and, like, a good guess that's making a big reservation like that is probably gonna book, concierge services, and so you're gonna be supporting vendors that you work with. You're gonna be supporting your concierge team if you have one, like, There's so many positive
You
things
bring
here.
up a good point. A lot of travel advisors will often purchase and work with you through additional services on that.
Yes.
The car transfer or the baggage or the
Private chefs.
additional maid services. Like they want to make sure their client gets that experience. So you can upsell these travel agents quite a bit, and they'll do it. You
They're
got
down because they get the
to.
concept of a full experience.
But listen, these travel advisors, I have this thing in my head. These travel advisors usually have their clients' Amex Black Card, like they
Yes,
have it,
of course. Yeah.
they have it on file. So it's not like, they're very deeply integrated into like making those kind of executive decisions for
Yeah,
their clients. So
totally. Anthony is holding, I think it's like his chapstick. Should I hold
yes,
this?
it is.
Well, we could do this like in yours is Bliss Text and mine is Summer Fridays, which would
I
be
like
that.
this one. It's like a creamy one, so it's
I
not
love
like,
that stuff.
so it's good.
Maybe that should be like I should do a whole series of episodes where we start every episode off by applying because I do apply in case most people don't watch podcasts. So we do video this. If you guys want to watch a video and see us holding our chapstick in our hands, feel free. But most people don't watch video, I don't think. But maybe I should do a whole series where like start every episode where like what chapstick we have on the desk that day.
Yes,
Because if
yes.
you're like me and Anthony, you
Chapstick Matt.
talk all day for a living. I talk all day. That's my
Yes.
job. I get on Zoom calls in the morning and I spend most of the day, whether I'm talking with clients or my team, or I'm doing podcasts, or I'm talking about my book, or what I'm just talking all day, whether I'm in person or on Zoom. And then I always have a drink, which you guys can't see unless you're looking at the video. I just took a sip. And then I always have chapsticks. Maybe I should do like a whole series around that.
Yes.
Because we talk a lot and we need to be hydrated and not have dry mouth. Yeah.
That's why I don't
Okay.
talk to anybody at the gym when I go. I'm like, don't speak to me. I'm going to the gym.
Well, I have been working with a trainer lately. We're so off topic, but see, I love the best part of podcasts, I think, is the off topic part. When I'm listening to someone else's, I feel like I get to know them when they talk. But anyway, I've been working with a trainer. So that means I am talking to people because that person's there and that's my accountability. But so yeah, I'm different that way. But if I'm not with a trainer, then I'm listening to a podcast while I work out. Okay, I have so many more questions we didn't get to, and we're almost at an hour. Is there like one more question from all of these, which I could give you some options if you want, that you think would be best? Like there's one about like what pressures that advisors navigate or what causes advisors to come back again. There's some questions on here about like your history with Onefinestay or like
We talked a lot
evolving.
about that, though. No, have we touched a lot about that?
I mean, we've talked like so much good stuff, but there's also one about like best practices that more vacation rentals could adopt, more vacation rental companies could adopt. I don't know.
Yeah, I actually have some stuff on that. So
Okay, let's talk about that. So the question is, what practices should more vacation rental companies adopt, like in relation to working with travel advisors?
yeah, I mean, I think it kind of ties back to what we were saying before, which is vacation rental companies should understand that travel advisors work outside of vacation rentals in a very sophisticated ecosystem, right? Hotels, cruises, all this other type of stuff. These industries have built an ecosystem for travel advisors to navigate very well, efficient, and understand the terms, understand the commissions, all these other things. So
This is really important to understand.
yes. So I think creating the right ecosystem internally is something that we should adopt and something that I'm trying to consult with brands.
Anthony, you and I think like, Nocturne and what they're doing, and some of us like in this industry, we will be able to do this, right?
Yes,
Because it's like, it's been bubbling up slowly, like I said in the beginning, for a really long time. The time is now.
yes, the time is now. And then I think again, on top of that, adopting the relationship aspect about it. Don't treat it as a transaction. Treat it as a relationship. Treat it as somebody that you're trying to court. Treat it as somebody that you're trying to make them like you. But also delivering on your promises that you're doing. So like adopt that. Adopt that. Listen, I need to make sure that the process is easy for them. I need to make sure that they feel valued and I need to nurture that relationship. And then just connecting with them is that first step, getting them on the phone, talking to them, asking how they found you, asking if they've booked private villas before. This is a learning opportunity for the vacation rental person to see who that other person is on the other side. So if they get an unknown travel advisor inquiry, talk to them, have the conversation with them. They will do that. And then I said, it's like the little things. Talk about the commission. It's not a bad thing
Yes.
to tell them, here's the rate, the commission is 10%. Here's what's included. Here's what's not included. Here's the cancellation policy. Here are the
Don't beat around the bush out of
nope.
fear. Like,
Yeah.
have the confidence to know that what you're offering is worthwhile. These people want it. Discuss the harder topics like commission, right? Like, just get it out of the way.
When you present them an option, everything needs to be in their face when you send in an option. So if the client says, "Hey, send me 3 options or send me options for these dates," and the client's requirements are X, when you send that, you need to outline everything. You need to say rates, commission, cancellation, payment policy, all the stuff, so that your next email isn't questions. Your next email is, "Thank you so much. I'm sending to my client, and I'll get back." Right? Then a lot of travel agents do go quiet. I would not expect that they're not working on it. I would expect they're waiting on their clients' feedback. So don't helm the travel agent. They're they are doing their thing on their
I
side.
know my team has done this like incorrectly. I know that I've,
There's
I've,
a,
I've heard
a
about it
fine
happening.
line that you need
Yeah, we
to
have to be
share.
better with our training.
Exactly. And it's less of a, you send them options tomorrow. Hey, any feedback? The next day, hey, have you gotten any feedback? I don't think that serves the relationship well. I think making sure that your response time to their initial inquiry is very fast. And that's something I think we haven't talked about is we gauged conversion based off of response time. And if you respond within 15 minutes of the inquiry coming in versus an hour or 2 hours, your chances of converting that booking shoot up dramatically because they're not just looking at you. They're looking at you and your competitor and somebody else. And guess who gets the booking is the person who responds first. And how do you respond the fastest? Phone calls, email, we always had a 3-pronged approach. If you get an inquiry, you immediately call. If you don't get them on the phone, you send them an email and then you follow up with a text. Hey, just an email. Let me know when's the time to connect. And if you do that little 3-prong, they're going to respond to it. So in their medium that they like. Some people like to respond to text. Okay,
I fully
respond
agree.
to text.
Like if I could like wave a magic wand and have things go the way I want, I fully agree that it's like I would want, and we do train this with our team, and I have a really great team, and they do a lot of this, really well. But
Yeah.
but like I don't think that they do perfect on like responding via email and placing a call, leaving a message, and sending a text.
Well,
Like
if you're
this
doing
is important.
like you're again, depending on your CRM, you can track these things. And then what do salespeople want? They want incentives. Call it what it is. You have to incentivize salespeople in certain ways to do performances, even admin, all these stuff. So set KPIs for them, set KPIs for their response time, set KPIs for other aspects that they can control and give them an incentive for it on a quarterly basis. Listen, I need you to be here if you want to earn this, extra X% bonus, then
Right.
this is what you got
That's
to do.
how it works, right? Like, and a good salesperson is
Yeah.
money focused.
Money
They're
talk.
driven by money. So
Yeah,
like work off of what they're driven by.
exactly. Yeah,
Yeah, I totally
you're
agree.
not going to give a salesperson admin duties unless they see some type of reason to do admin, which is
Right.
a story.
No, I
But yeah,
was just talking about this with my sales team today because we were talking about like, like sales ops, like the sales, administrative sales duties versus and how we can handle all the, the workload. And yeah, it's like a very valid topic. Like, I mean, obviously, you guys, Anthony knows what he's talking about, but like, you don't have to believe me. It's like he's literally like these are those details you only get if you've done this yourself. If you've
or
like
they can
trenches.
always reach out to me after this podcast.
Yes.
We consult to each
Okay. So
other.
wait, let's give your info because we're over an hour, which I love, and that always happens. So I know people say like, oh, you should only do 30 minutes or you should only do an hour. It's like, I'm sorry. We got to cover our stuff, which I feel like we've done a good job. Okay. But you are going to hear this. And if you're in the vacation rental industry, or honestly, even if you're in the travel planner industry or travel advisor industry, and you're thinking about this topic about working with vacation rental companies, I know for a fact that, and you hear this episode, you're going to be like, want to talk to Anthony. So Anthony, what is the best way that people could reach out to you?
So everything is launching this month. So the
Okay.
website will be up. It's called Strata. And again, the reason it's called Strata, it's a play on words.
It's so good.
Our industry is considered in an acronym STR for short-term rentals. So STR. And then I thought, let's do the at symbol. So we're at like an email, and then TA for travel advisors or travel agents.
Hello. It's so literally, I told Anthony, it's like sometimes the universe aligns and like the best way forward just like reveals itself, like crystallizes in front of you. And could you think of a better company name for this whole concept? STR at symbol TA, short-term rentals, travel advisors. Like seriously,
Yeah.
it's a match made in
So it's
heaven.
called
It's so good.
Strata. The website's going to be Strata Destinations because I will
Okay.
be working with specific destinations, one destination per one brand per destination. So I'm not
Okay.
repping like Rachel's my Park City brand, and I will be
I
pushing
hope that I
also.
wanna be the first customer. Like, I really wanna be, like, customer number 1. Like, I told Ant like,
Oh,
"Please,
we'll do
when do I sign the contract? Where is it? I wanna sign it. I wanna be the first
check
customer."
your email. Um,
Okay.
but so it's going to be that. I think by the time this podcast launches, you'll be able to go onto the website, submit an inquiry either as a property manager or even a travel advisor who wants to kind of have access to the recommendations that I'm giving per destination. And then all my contact will be on there. It'll be Anthony at stratadestinations.com. It'll be very easy to do. And then I think after this, we'll try to do some marketing and kind of get this out in front of people as well. So I'm
The
really
word of mouth will be
excited.
huge.
I really anybody that I've talked to, including you, has said that this is a big hole in our industry that needs filling, and I think that it'll be a great collaboration with some good brands.
It's such a good idea. I know people are gonna copy you, but you're gonna be the first, the OG. Like, when I think of travel advisors and I think of, like, the OG, most respected, the people that, like, kind of made it like, took it to another level, right? I always think of Fisher Travel, right? Like, Fisher Travel is just has this cachet, and it's kind of like they were the ones, like, that really did it well first, you know what I mean? And so I feel like that's strata, no way that people hear this and then it's not like, "Hello, yeah, we need this," right? But it's like, there will always be the one that started it, the one that set the bar,
I'll
and
be the old guy in 10 years. Be like, oh,
right?
Miss Strata.
I feel like we're young, and Anthony is much younger than me, but, I feel like, us people that are not in our 30s anymore, and, like, it's like, I do feel old sometimes, but we're young. We're just getting started. Like, I just went to this Chip Conley retreat and came back, like, I was there last week in Santa Fe. Do you know who Chip Conley is? He did Joie de Vie. Okay. And he does Modern Elder Academy, the MEA, and he has these, like, wisdom and all sorts of really cool concepts. But I was just there talking about wisdom, and it's kind of about midlife. And it's like, we're not alone. There's a lot of people that feel like you are finally just like at this age, this like middle age, you're coming into like your brain is working fully. You have all this life experience. And now all of a sudden is when we can do the most amazing things. And it's like, look at you, you're doing it. I feel like I'm starting to do it too. And it's like, this is the moment, right? Like we're doing the thing.
Yeah, I
And I
think
love
all
seeing
the
it.
pieces kind of fell together over the course of these last 12 years, and
Yeah.
I think it's a great time for where the industry's at and where we're going, and
Perfect.
love to be part of the growth story of
It's to the moon, man. I
yes.
know it is. Really exciting. Okay. Okay. So I feel like I had this little like reflection on the notes for this episode. And I don't know if I was debating if I was going to like read it. But it's talking about how like throughout our conversation, there's like one thing that keeps surfacing, right? And I think this point is interesting that, the future isn't just about distribution. It's about trust. It's about education. It's about relationships. And that is so much so true in like what you're building with Strata and like what I'm trying to do by talking more about this whole travel advisors relationship and structure that we need in place in the vacation rental industry. And so I think to me, like this conversation is like one of my favorites of all the episodes we've done so far. And I hope that people get so much out of this. So, okay, if they want to find you before the website's up, like LinkedIn, if you
Yeah.
look up,
And if you
okay,
look up Anthony Barrera, you'll see
yeah,
me kind of there.
okay, you'll find him.
You'll
And you guys, if you can't find him, if you're listening, I'm going to make sure we put in the show notes his website as soon as we get the web address and it's up. We'll put that in the show notes. I'll try to put a link to Anthony's LinkedIn as well. And then if for whatever reason you're listening, you're driving, you can't look at your phone or something, But if you find me and you ask, I will get you connected with Anthony as well. Because like we're, homies, and I have his contact info. So I will pass you his cell phone number. Like if you're going to be a good client for him, and I'll have to, obviously parse that out, but, I can hook you up. Okay. So, I feel like we covered a ton. We could probably do another episode at some point. Maybe we should, after you launch, we should do one more. We could even like share screen and let people see things. And then we'd have to be like, hey, for this episode, go on and watch the video. So we'll talk about that. But thank you, Anthony, for
Yes,
taking time with me.
it was great. I enjoyed it.
This is awesome. Like y'all, he's a huge wealth of information on this topic, and this topic is important. Like we could all make a lot of money doing a better job working with travel advisors and travel advice. Like we're helping them to create amazing experiences for their clients. So like it's about the money, but it's also about the connection and about like supporting other small businesses. And there's so much good here. Okay, is there anything we didn't cover or anything you want to bring up that I didn't let you have a chance because I talked so much?
Um, no, I think we covered most of it. I will share the details and we will kind of kick off, the next and then kind of go from there. But if anybody has any questions, even if you don't need my services and you just want to talk about your ebbs and flows with travel advisors and just talk. I'm happy to help you, advise you. You don't have to be a client of mine. I always
Just
am
be a friend.
grateful to share my knowledge
Yes.
with property managers, give pieces of advice, and then hey, if a longer term relationship makes sense, then great. But if not, then
Yes.
let's
Like
talk.
the right path forward, it always does show itself. But Anthony is a good friend. He is a good person to know. I mean, everything is about relationships. But like, this is definitely a very good person to get to know in business in this industry at this moment in time. That's for damn sure. There's no
I
doubt about
appreciate
that.
that. Thank you so much.
Yeah, of course. Thank you for doing this with me. And thanks to everyone who's listening. And hopefully you'll come back for the
Yes.
next episode of the
I'll
Hospitality
be
Break
in
Room.
office next time. We're going to be in the same room.
Oh my gosh. Yes. Yes.
Yes.
Okay. It's going up from here, which is crazy because we're both doing good. But you know what? There's a lot of room to grow. So everyone, thanks for listening and we'll see you next time. Thanks for listening to the Hospitality Break Room. This season, we're exploring how the vacation rental industry and travel planners can work better together. And we're just getting started. Be sure to subscribe so you don't miss future episodes. And if you found this conversation valuable, share it with someone in hospitality or travel. We'll see you next time in the break room.